The Comic Den returns. Well, that's kind of special, isn't it? With a special episode to talk about a big Marvel event that happened within the last couple of years, and that is Blood Hunt. So, exactly why is the Comic Den back, and what do we think of Blood Hunt? Well, find out after this.
Welcome to the Dingus Den.
All right, the Comic Den has returned. I know usually we do these streams when we did do them. Comic Den was a show that it was us two that did it. Great to have you back, Steve, from Rebel Nerd Radio, as well as I was about to say former co-host of the Comic Den, but I guess not former anymore. If Comic Den is back being a thing, but then obviously there's a little like asterisk to that, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a special recording one. And the big reason that we're doing this one recorded is just because it kind of like worked better for our schedule to do this one kind of recorded. But our plan is we want to do the Comic Den isn't going to come weekly, maybe more of a bi-weekly thing. And we are looking to do it live again, but just because of us being able to go ahead and get this episode out because of its content that we wanted to talk about, and figured let's just do it as part of a new Comic Den. That's why this one's more of a pre-recorded one, and not a live one, which this is going to come back live. We are going to do more stuff, and we're going to figure out the timing of it better.
Yeah, we just need to get our schedules.
Yeah. Once we figure out exactly when we want to do this, we will be live for it again. So, but yeah, point is though, we've been talking about wanting to do some more of this, and there's been several murmurs here and there of us bringing it back during the show, but here we're like, you know what, let's just bring it back at some form of capacity. We're not going to do it always like we did, and it might look a little different as we decide exactly what we want to do with it, but the essence of what it is still the same, which is us two nerding out about whatever comic we talk about. In a moment, we'll also get into whatever stuff we've read recently, and I have a little bit of news I want to touch on as well, or rumor I want to touch on as well, which I'm very curious of your take on. So,
okay.
So we'll get into that here in a moment as well. But, yeah. So let's first begin off with, as we normally do, with this show, of like, well, like, what stuff have you been reading? Anything that you want to specifically highlight of, like, read?
I recently read, and I don't even remember why I picked it up. I just saw this event that happened. And yeah, I really don't remember why I picked it up and started reading it. But I read One World Under Doom. And like it just finished in November. Or was it December? I don't know. It just recently finished, and I liked it a lot, like a lot. And it's kind of why we're doing Blood Hunt, because it's kind of the implications of what happens in Blood Hunt. So I was like, oh, let's go read Blood Hunt and see what that's about. Anyway, so One World Under Doom. So I read that. But other than Blood Hunt, I have been getting myself caught up on Jed McKay's Avengers run. And I'm close. I just finished issue number 32. And I think they're up to 35 now. I think
Okay.
the current one is 35. But yeah, that's mainly what I've been reading.
Okay. I as far as what I immediately think of right off the top of my head, because I'm an absolute maniac with how much things I do and keeping up with, especially for stuff in the Dingus as of recent. This marks us talking about Blood Hunt here marks the third story arc that I'm talking about in 3 days in
wow.
the channel. So we're about to talk about Blood Hunt, which is one thing I read. Yesterday I recorded a video over the Kitty Pryde and Wolverine miniseries.
Yeah.
And then the day before that, I recorded a video over Transformers Volume 4, Danny Warren Johnson's run, which is amazing. Me and my friend Warren, we've been talking about all the Energon Universe stuff. We've gone through and we've done all 4 of the G.I. Joe miniseries, Duke, Cobra Commander, Scarlet, Destro, and then we just wrapped up Danny Warren Johnson's Transformers run, which is amazing. Those comics are must reads. Like, they're just amazing. And so next we're going to be covering G.I. Joe. But yeah, I've been busy mainly reading stuff for just channel content since that's how things got kind of stacked, was like,
Yeah.
just all those back to back. But I was also reading a little bit of what is it called? Catching up on DCKO. I this week got a big stack of comics, a whole 4 weeks worth, because I haven't been able to make it, partially due to a couple weeks ago when I probably would have gone. There was a big snowstorm that happened across,
Yeah.
that screwed a lot of things up. So I was just like, I could have gone last week, but I wanted to intentionally wait because the big DCKO was this week. And so, yeah, a lot of stuff.
I think the next thing I'm going to start reading is probably I kind of want to get caught up with the Ultimates, because the Ultimate in game just started.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to get back, and I think I read like the first 2 issues of the Ultimates.
Yeah.
So I've got my work cut out on that one. I'm pretty much caught up on Ultimate Spider-Man, but that's the only other Ultimate title I've been reading.
Yeah, I need to catch up on all that stuff.
Consistently. I read a couple issues of Black Panther. I read a couple issues of X-Men. I did read the first issue of Ultimate Wolverine. Was not terribly impressed with that one either. But yeah, Ultimates. I think that Ultimates is one of those that I was reading and liked, but when I became unemployed, I just stopped reading it.
Gotcha.
But,
I remember liking Ultimate Black Panther when I read of it. I read both the first volume of that and Spider-Man. They were both pretty good, I thought. But yeah, I need to read more of it. I find it unfortunate that they're ending that universe, but oh well.
Yeah, I guess it's probably just not selling very well, maybe. I don't
Well,
know.
that's the thing, is a lot of those Ultimate titles are, especially Spider-Man and the Ultimates, are some of Marvel's best-selling books. And so
Well, that's weird.
It's an interesting decision because a lot of people are loving it and then they're stopping the momentum of it. Part of the reason, I believe, is because a lot of the writers, they were just kind of wanting to do their 4 arcs and be done with it, is the biggest reason. Such as Peach Momoko and what's his name, Jonathan Hickman. They were both, I believe, were like, I just want to do these 24 issues of our series and then be done. Because they didn't, I guess, really have any more story that they wanted to tell. And so with so many of the writers not wanting to do anymore, Marvel was like, all right, we're not going to do any more of this. Even though they definitely could have.
Yeah.
So
Maybe they've just got something else up there. So maybe it's because of the Armageddon thing is they want to kind of put
yeah,
all their eggs
maybe.
in that basket. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, who knows what Marvel's thinking and why they just end stuff.
Yeah, I know a big part of it is probably just sales, and they're also cheap with a bunch of things too. I don't know. There are certain business tactics with Marvel I don't personally agree with. Now they still do put out some pretty good stories though. Sometimes, but so
Yeah,
it just depends. So
Marvel
okay,
has their way of doing things, and
yeah, exactly.
but yeah, I want to get caught up on that, and then at some point I am going to start reading a Marvel event that for some reason I never bothered reading, and I don't know why. But
Oh, what is that?
you and I have talked about it actually.
Oh, I didn't know you never read this.
The one that I mentioned yesterday, like
Yeah.
we should do an episode on this.
Well,
Yeah, I've never read it.
that's crazy. Okay, I am
Like, because I was reading some like tidbits, like synopsis pieces and stuff like this, and I'm like, I don't remember any of it. I don't think I've read this.
that.
And I find it very odd that I've never read it. So that's why I was like, yeah, I should read this and we should do an episode on that.
Yeah, I find that really interesting because that's like known to be one of the big.
That's like huge. Yeah.
It's one of the huge events that if it's on the checklist of if you're to only read major storylines, it's on that checklist.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I was like, why would I have not read this? And then I'm like, okay, 2004. What was I doing in 2004 that caused me not to read it? So 2004, I wasn't actually reading a lot of comic books, so that might be part of it. That was the year my son was born. But when I started getting back into reading comic books, I have no excuse. Why did I not read that?
Is it available?
It just fell under the table, so to speak.
Sure. Well, what exactly is that? Find out. Is that very well might be what we cover next. As knowing that you've never read it has me more curious on doing an episode over it now.
Yeah. I didn't know. I thought I had mentioned that I'd never read it before.
If you did, I don't remember that. But interesting. Okay. So
and I will just to point this out, there is a very strong chance that I am going to read a little bit more than just the core issues, because I looked at some of the tie-ins involved and I'm like, yeah, I think I'm probably going to want to read those.
There is a few of the tie-ins I'm interested in as well, so I might join you in that journey of a bit more of them. We'll figure it out though. We'll talk about it. Exactly what we want to do. But in the meantime, both of us always have a bunch of cool stuff going on. Such as here on the Dingus Den, as I was talking about all the stuff I was reading for a bunch of reviews and stuff. And so I don't know exactly when all these are going to be released and whatnot, but make sure you like and subscribe here so you can find out all these cool videos I'm doing on here, different comic reviews. The day that we're recording this, I just dropped the Batman the Long Halloween issue 4 comic dub, where it's over Valentine's Day. So that was a lot of fun.
Very cool.
And so yeah. But yeah, what stuff you got going on?
I've got a couple things going on with Rebel Nerd Radio. We just did an episode about. We did another episode on our Starships of the Galaxy series, and we talked about TIE fighters. This Tuesday, if you're watching this before Tuesday, February 17th, we're going to be taking a little detour from Star Wars, and we're going to be talking about the 1980 Flash Gordon movie.
I've never watched that. I need to watch
Oh
it.
wow, yeah. No, we're gonna talk about that. We just dropped another episode of the Bat Cave on our YouTube channel. That episode is called the Batman Starter Pack. It's basically like we talk about recommendations for new fans that are new to Batman. It's like, this is what we would recommend you read. Also, we did record a new episode of Kryptonian Chronicles, where we talked about Volume 1 of Absolute Superman. That is not on the YouTube channel yet. That is still on our Patreon, because that is one of our patron early access things. Outside of Rebel Nerd Radio, I have been writing some comic book reviews.
Oh, nice.
I've got a few on the website Future of the Force, and I just dropped one today, kind of a companion piece to our most recent foray into comic book talking. We talked about Cyclops #1.
Yeah.
I wrote a review of that, and I put that one on my Substack.
Nice. Very
Just
cool.
because I felt like putting it up there. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I'm up to.
Nice. Very cool. You're talking about writing stuff. That reminds me, I recently did my first ever published written piece. Released yesterday. It was my first ever game review I did for Nerd Reactor, where I got to play High on Life 2 early. That came out when we're recording. It came out yesterday. The game. I had that opportunity come up Tuesday evening, and so since Tuesday evening to Thursday, I was busy playing that game and then trying to write that review. So when we recorded those couple of videos, it was literally just shortly after me actually finishing writing that review when I was free to do so. Being really busy with doing that, but that was awesome. So maybe
Was that the one on for High on Life?
yes, High on Life 2. My first ever like early game review that I got to do there. So thank you so much to my friend John, who he's been on the Dingus Den at least a couple of times. I'm trying to remember if he joined us for it or not. I think he may have joined us for Secret Wars. Maybe.
I think that may have been the one that I missed.
No, you missed one that was Absolute. No, yeah, you missed Absolute Flash and
Right.
Okay. I'm gonna have to look back. But he's a good friend, point being, and he's been here on the Dingus Den. And so,
man, it's been so long since we did that.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's somebody that if you've talked to, you've only talked to him once, so it's like I get it, you know. But yeah, cool stuff. But yeah, and while we're talking about too, make sure you check out Shane.
That was 10 months ago.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay. Also, everyone, make sure you go check out Shenanigans Collective, where there's a bunch of other cool channels and stuff. Talk about whatever may interest you in movies and stuff. Yes, and specifically part of that is the Tabletop Lounge, where I run my D&D games, which those are a lot of fun. Being able to delve into a D&D world that has been years in the making for me has been a lot of fun delving into. And then we have a bunch of other stuff going on, such as I know you're playing in a Fallout game that Blue's running, and a bunch of fun stuff that's planned and coming out and all that stuff. So,
we've got a Star Wars RPG coming up too that you are a part of
for your Patreon.
But that folks, you can only watch if you are a patron for Rebel Nerd Radio, because that is a patron exclusive thing.
Indeed. All right.
Yeah, John was on that Secret Wars episode with us.
That's what I thought. But yeah. Okay. So I want to cover really quick a quick rumor, quite a big rumor that has just come out. It came out. This rumor was published on Wednesday, and then we got a follow up on this as well, which I want to talk about. But we know how Marvel's been doing crossovers recently. Like they've been
Oh, I know what you're talking.
they've been doing Alien. They did a big Aliens versus Avengers. They just did Captain America versus Aliens, or Aliens versus Captain America. They just put out the first issue of Fantastic Four versus the Planet of the Apes, and now there is a new one, where it is now being reported that we might get. Like I said, this is just a rumor. I don't necessarily want to, say like, oh, this is happening. It's just a rumor. So take this with a huge grain of salt. But always, I'm a believer of where there's smoke, there's fire. Not always meaning that fire is always what the smoke is, but if you know what I mean. But there's this big rumor that we're gonna get a Star Wars versus Avengers comic, potentially something that's potentially in the works. And there's quite a big name attached to this that's rumored, and that's Mark Millar could be attached to this. And so I was just kind of wanting to get your thoughts on this, since it's we're quite a big fan of both. And it seems, I don't know, interesting.
I'm very skeptical of that idea.
This is very true.
I am obviously a big fan of both. Yeah, I don't know about that.
It's one of those things that it's probably really hard to pull off well. It's much easier to screw it up than do it well. Like there's a lot of crossovers that I feel like that just works a lot better with each other. Like when you think about the two together, you're like, yeah, those mesh well, right?
Yeah.
And then this is something that's like, I don't know if they mesh well, but be interesting if they could do it right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that. That's like you said, they could really screw that up.
But with hearing a name such as Mark Millar as part of it, who is a
Sure.
writer who could,
I don't know.
It's interesting.
To see Marvel and Star Wars together, I just, I don't know. It's like I said, I'm very skeptical about the idea of them pulling that off.
I agree. There's a bunch of crossovers that, when they're the ones that don't sound like they typically work, a lot of times I feel like they're kind of more misses than like really hits,
Mm-hmm.
And so like I 100% agree that I'm skeptical. And now if it is going to happen, I'm still going to check it out just because I want to see whatever they're going to do with it if it happens.
Yeah, I'll check it out, but they got to be very careful, because they're gonna, if they screw it up, they're gonna piss a lot of people off.
This is true. Now there is potential good news on this too, though. It is an interesting thing as well, because regardless of which a lot of people's personal opinions on Robert Liefeld might be, he is still somebody who knows the business very well and has friends within the business.
Mm-hmm.
And he posted an update to this rumor/story this morning that says, for all of you out of the loop, Marvel has 100 taken pitches on Star Wars Marvel team-ups, full stop. This isn't happening in a vacuum. Stuff gets out. And he brought up the important point that Star Wars 50th anniversary is next year. Track it. So obviously they're going to be figuring out important stuff to celebrate Star Wars 50th anniversary in the world of comics. So that makes sense that they would be saving something big like this for next year if it was to actually happen. But here's the interesting point that I find interesting, is he's saying Snag is getting Lucasfilm to approve. Which I find that part interesting, that And also, I think is kind of like a hopeful part to this too. Like, not saying that everything that Lucasfilm puts out I think is great, but like the fact that Lucasfilm is hesitant to just straight out approve something like this that could be a big moneymaker. It's interesting. It's very interesting to see that they're if the big thing is having Lucasfilm to approve this story, maybe there's some hope that they're wanting to make sure it is of the right story to be told.
Right.
So if they even want to do crossovers, that's the other thing too, is once you start crossing over, and Star Wars really hasn't been part of that world officially.
Yeah.
So depends.
I mean, first of all, you're talking about crossing galaxies.
Yeah.
For one. And then you're talking about time travel.
Right.
So
yeah.
The only thing I could see is maybe like Kang would probably have to be part of it.
Oh, that'd be an interesting idea.
The time travel aspect. And then, of course, if you bring Kang into it, you've got the Avengers already.
Yeah. Well, like, here's the big question, though, is if this was to happen, do we want it where it's Marvel characters in the Star Wars world? Do we want them merged? Because here's the thing as well, of like, I don't know how interesting it would be at all to have Star Wars people, like Star Destroyers or Death Star or whatever, to come to Earth. But on the flip side, there is, in the Marvel Universe, there is other notable space locations. Like, if it's a story where there's a Death Star evolved, it would be interesting that if they combine the other cosmic side of Marvel and have like Nowhere involved. Like, think of like Nowhere from Guardians of the Galaxy 3 having to go up against a Death Star or something. I don't know, that like could work. And I think it's actually kind of a cool idea. But
yeah, this is just where you get into everything is speculation at this point.
Yeah.
And
we'll see. We'll just have to keep this in mind.
We'll just have to see. I don't know. It's just
yeah, I agree.
That's going to be a weird one.
Yeah, I was just curious about your thoughts on it, and yeah, I feel similar, and so we'll see. Like I said, if they figure out a good way to do it, I'm here for it. But also, I think it's about time we get to why we're actually here. I think that bit's probably pretty important.
Was that the only news that we had?
No, I don't know if I want to bring on the news fully back into the show, but I just wanted to bring that since that's been a bit of talk recently, and
I think
on it.
I think we mentioned like if the news is big.
Yeah. I think it helps that if there's something big and notable to talk about, we'll do that. If we feel like that there's a bunch of news from like San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con or any sort of event that happens like that, we could always dedicate an episode just to news where there could be a lot of things to talk about, such as, we've done a video or two like that before. So, it just depends, right? And so,
yeah. So, Blood Hunt.
Yeah, let's talk about why we're actually here, which is
why are we here?
That part's important. Let's talk about some Blood Hunt, which is
so just ahead of time, I want to say that I did not read all of the tie-in stuff.
Okay, yes, that's important to say. I only read the main event. I literally finished reading the main event a little like minutes before hopping on to record this. So
I read the core issues, the main series, and then I read a few of the one-shots.
Okay.
But that was it.
I've actually read a couple of the tie-ins beforehand.
Okay.
But that was only because those were books I was keeping up with at the time.
So I read like back in when the event came out, it was 2024. I did read when it came out the free comic book day Blood Hunt
Prelude,
X-Men
yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I read that
Um,
too. I got that. Somewhere in my stack.
so I wasn't really interested enough to go, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and read that series.
Right.
Um, and to be completely honest and upfront, I only read it because I read One World Under Doom, and I'm like, okay, I want to see how all this came about.
Yeah,
So
the ending of this and the way it happened too, like it was one of the things that blew up online. So like the moment issue 5 came out, I was aware of the big twist there with Doom at the end.
yeah,
And so, but yeah, I was curious too. I wanted to see how it culminated to that,
yeah.
which is the big reason why I was like, maybe we should talk about this because I want to, you know, it was something that I've been curious about reading as well. Um,
There was some interesting, yeah, there was some interesting points about this story.
yeah.
Uh,
Before we get into like bits of the main story and stuff as well, I do want to say, even though the tie-ins I read was stuff that came out at the time. So like I read both the Venom and Fantastic Four tie-ins
okay,
before Fantastic Four because I was actually actively reading Fantastic Four at the time. So that was like its own nice little side story that happened at the time.
okay.
And then I read the Venom one as well, and both of those are very much side stories. And it's
Was,
one of those things where if I told you that those characters were involved or they'd have their side stories, you'd be like, okay, they had no inclusion on the main story. It was clearly just it was whatever they were up to while the story's going on.
Fantastic Four was that was when Ryan North was writing it, right?
He still is writing it, yeah.
Is he still writing it? Okay,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
because he wrote One World Under Doom,
Yeah.
and I really liked that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and read the Fantastic Four issues just because he wrote them. But
His run prior to all the One World Under stuff is really good. The other reason why I say prior is because I stopped reading his run right when it got to all the One World Under stuff. Like I read the prelude issue of Fantastic Four that leads into One World Under Doom. And the reason I stopped wasn't because I didn't like it, is because I can't afford getting into this event as heavily as I want to. So I intentionally
right,
stopped reading it so I could read more of the event and tie-ins when they were like all out.
yeah, no, I
Yeah,
completely get that. There's a lot of stuff I don't read just because I can't afford it.
yeah. Because this is the big problem I have with Marvel as well. When they have an event like this, um, and I do want to read a bunch of the tie-ins, but the reason I wait on a lot of them is because uh, they are absolutely freaking obnoxious. Of like, there's notable characters that have tie-ins, but then it's not part of their main character's run. Like Wolverine, the tie-ins to that is its own miniseries. It's like, yeah, I'd want to read a Wolverine, but that doesn't tie into the main stuff. When DC does a bunch of this stuff, it's the actual main universe overarching ones. DC KO
Yeah,
right now with its big event. First off, it's important that I think DC only does theirs yearly, but then like I'm picking all that stuff up because it's the main Titans, it's the main Flash, Justice League that it all ties into. Where I already am reading most of those anyway. Um,
yeah.
so
I have not been reading the KO stuff. Um,
when it's all done for and you have the ability to, I highly recommend it. So I will leave it
so
at that.
yeah, the only stuff. Oh, man, I think the only stuff I'm reading over at DC is like off the top of my head. The only thing I'm current with is Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, and the Matt Fraction Batman. Because I don't know what's going on with the Jeff Loeb Batman. That's like I haven't seen an issue in months.
Yeah, and I still think when is the next one scheduled for? Because they keep on delaying the issue 6 of that. It's like, what's
Yeah,
happening
yeah,
over there? Um, I will be honest, most of what I pick up is DC stuff. at least from the big two. I do want to try to get into buying more of the stuff that's not necessarily DC. And I had quite a big pull list this week, not gonna lie. And I realized that's something we didn't do, is talking about our pull.
Oh, I mean, we can jump back and do that.
I don't have the pictures. Well, let's just quickly go through that really quick. How about that?
Okay.
Um,
I mean, this past week there was only 2, so for me anyway.
okay.
Next week is going to be a lot bigger.
Okay.
So do you want to do both weeks?
Let's just do this week. Since we don't know exactly when we're
Like
recording,
this
because there might.
upcoming week or the week that just passed?
Oh, that's a good point. Let's do both, since we don't know exactly when we're recording another one.
Okay. So this week that just passed, which was February 11th, I only had 2. I had Cyclops #1 and Jar Jar #1.
Which we did videos over both of those, which by
We
the
did
time this
do
gets out to
review
everybody,
videos.
everybody can go watch those now. So
Oh, is the Jar Jar one up now?
it will be by the time everybody is seeing this episode.
Oh, okay. And then next week, which is February 18th, I have Absolute Batman #17. I've got X-Men #25.
Very cool.
I've got Uncanny X-Men #24. It's really odd that those are coming on the same days.
Yeah. I'm seeing the stuff that's happening in Uncanny X-Men, which I'm curious.
Interestingly enough, Uncanny X-Men kind of, sort of, slightly could be considered a tie-in from the event that we're talking about today.
There is stuff in it that is definitely adjacent to what we're talking about. Yes.
Yes. And then the 4th one is the 2nd issue of Dungeons of Doom.
Oh, okay. Nice. Very cool.
I have Dungeons of Doom #1. I have not read it yet because I've been reading this. So that's
all right. For me, I had a bit more of this last week that I picked up. I got just like you. There's obviously Cyclops and Jar Jar, which we did videos of. Go check them out now. But then there's also the last issue of the Alien vs. Captain America miniseries. The Curse of Shirley Johnson #4, which that took like a few month break, but I really enjoyed that. I remember when that first came out. We talked about that when it first came out on the that was on my poll that we mentioned. And so anyway, DCKO #4, which I have not quite gotten to, but I am very excited to get into that. Green Lantern Corps #13. And then, oh, speaking of Green Lantern Corps, make sure you go check out my interview with Morgan Hampton, who's the writer of that series.
Yeah.
And so, very cool. And then also Transformers 29, the second to last issue of the current arc that's going on right now. So, cool stuff. And then for this next week, you actually have more than me. I only have 3 books scheduled for this week. Which one of them is what you said, Absolute Batman. And then my list just went away. I also have Knoll #2. And then Wolverine #16. So
Okay.
a lot of stuff to look forward to. All right. Well, let's finally get into Blood Hunt. Talk about Blood Hunt here.
Let's talk about Blood Hunt. Yeah.
Let's talk about Blood Hunt. So, what do you think about this overall?
Overall, I wouldn't say it's my favorite Marvel event. The writing on it, I thought was pretty good. Like Jed McKay is
He's
generally
solid.
speaking a pretty good writer. He's a
Yeah, he's
solid
a solid. Yeah. I would
So
agree.
the way it's written, okay, I would say that the writing, I like the writing and how he writes it more than I do the actual premise. If that makes sense.
Sure.
I would say I think I would have liked this more. How would I describe this? I think it felt rushed.
I did feel that very much so, and I am curious of how many of the tie-ins help. Because there's a lot of things where it's like characters kind of just appear out of nowhere. There was one
Yeah,
point I honestly laughed during it when specifically in the moment where I believe it is in issue 4 when they go over it's the other Moon Knight person, because it's not actual Moon Knight, but it's this other Moon
right,
Knight person. I
right.
don't remember his name, but this other Moon Knight person and Blade's daughter, right? I think it was them two that were together. Wait, no, that was Dracula. Who's the other? No, there's somebody else with come on, Marvel Unlimited. Freaking load your comic. I'm trying to
Uh,
there's this other person that was with somebody I wasn't familiar with. Named hold on, it's right here somewhere. Tigra, I think, was mainly with him.
was it Tiger? So it wasn't Bloodline.
No, it was anyway. Point is, there's this other Moon Knight character named Hunter's Moon. There's another person with him, somebody that I'm not familiar with, which is why it's very figurable to me. And we also don't really get to see much of what this person was capable of. I don't remember if it was Tiger or if it was somebody else. I'll have to look. Anyway,
So yeah, that would be another thing I would say about the overall story is some of it was very forgettable.
there's a lot going on. It didn't elaborate in the main core. Now, I think a lot of this was because they had a bunch of moving pieces and things just kind of happened, but there's obviously a bunch of tie-ins. There is main tie-ins to this as well. And yeah, it is Tigra with him here.
Okay.
But there's this point where they go and break into this Asgardian vault, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have the keys, so how are we going to? Oh, it's Wrecker's here with an Asgardian crowbar." It's like, what? I when this happened, I just laughed as I was like, this is out of freaking nowhere. Now, at the same time, I know there's this, like, I think it's called Vengeance of Moon Knight, where this Hunter of Moon character or whatever is the main character in it. And maybe it shows why and how they got Wrecker. But when you're reading this event, which you can still read the event on its own and enjoy it. I think a lot of the I think the best way to
there's just certain parts of it you're like, what? Huh?
That came out of nowhere. Yeah. And so when it's literally about breaking into this Asgardian vault and then out of nowhere it's Wrecker appears and he has this Asgardian crowbar, it's like, hold on, wait. First off, Asgardian crowbars are a thing. What? And then B, it's like, why is Wrecker just randomly here? Of all characters, it's Wrecker. Like, that made me laugh out loud when I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh. It's Wrecker. Yeah. So, but yeah, it is a very quick paced comic. There's a bunch of things that happen. And a lot of the core books are just like that. They're very quick paced. It's all killer, no filler. Because even when you have an extended page amount, there's still just so much going on and it's quick to go through because of the great scale of a overall universe arcing event.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I get it. But then at the same time, I'm curious if certain things like this helps explain it. Like if we were to read the Vengeance of the Moon Knight book, does that explain why Wrecker's here? And stuff like that. And so because of stuff like that, it does have me really curious on reading a bunch of these tie-ins. And And especially too, I think if I did go back and read the tie-ins, I would first read the specific ones that say Blood Hunt in it. So like here I have this list of at the end of one of the issues, like a whole checklist of them. And this is part of the
So
reason too why I don't buy Marvel events when they come out, because this is too much shit to buy for for 2 months. Unless that's all I'm getting, which I'm sorry, Marvel, but I don't love you that much where I only want to buy Marvel. So, and even then, it's like that's a lot.
yeah,
But like there's a bunch of specific Blood Hunt events I'd be interested in checking out. Like you were talking about, there's some X-Men one shots, such as Jubilee has one, Magic has one. They have a
yeah,
Blood Hunters miniseries. There's a Dracula miniseries. Union Jack the Ripper, which is like his own thing because he's not in this at all. Neither is Wolverine, who has his own miniseries.
yeah.
Strange Academy, which I definitely want to read because I actually really like Strange Academy. Uh, I read, I think, all of their stuff prior to this. There may have been a couple of team up issues of theirs that I haven't read, but I really like Strange Academy. So seeing them involved in the story is cool. I've already read the Venom Fantastic Four. There's some other ones that have tie-ins, which if I read those tie-ins, it'll just be if I get around to reading that run. So
I just, I just found
so,
myself often like, what is the point of this?
yeah,
Like, this event seems like it's bigger than 5 issues.
yeah, that is the thing. Is it's overarching story. Like it's had story seeds that first began years ago.
Yeah.
Uh, they reference specifically how there's a big event that happened in Jed McKay's Moon Knight, like when he
Yeah.
first started doing Moon Knight, because he's doing all these different series and launches, and they're all part of the same massive run since he started. But like they talked about, like they reference a big point of that. They reference a big point of Blade that happened, and we'll get to Blade in a moment too, because that was something else right there. Uh, but it's just interesting because uh, I don't know. I am curious if the tie-ins help make it flow better to a
That's what I'm
degree.
wondering. Yeah. And it's like, and that's one of the things. I mean, DC is guilty of it too. Is like they put out these events and you have to read everything for it to completely make sense.
Sure.
And that bothers me because it's like, okay, we're not millionaires here. We can't afford all of these damn books.
Mm.
Uh,
And then there's still me buying all the DCKO stuff anyway, but it doesn't matter. Go on.
yeah, it's
Really
just
not a
like
problem.
I don't like look at that. Look at that. Okay, go back to that reading chart that you had.
Yeah.
See, that's only 2 months of it.
Yeah.
Like all of those books. Like we're talking. Okay, so I'm looking at. Okay, so
This is
you got the 5 issues. Then you got 4 issues of Blood Hunters. Then you got 3 issues of Dracula. Then you got 3 issues of Strange Academy. Then you got 3 issues of Spider-Man. Then you got 3 issues of Jack the Ripper. Then you got 3 issues of Black Panther. 3 issues of Midnight Suns. 4 issues of Wolverine. All the one-shots. All the series tie-ins. You're talking over 100 books.
oh, I don't know if it's quite 100, but there is a lot. I am curious of how
Damn
many that
near.
does total up to.
Well, damn near. Uh,
Well, it essentially it would about be double this, because this covers Blood Hunt 3 all the way to the aftermath of 5. So if you double the amount here, now yes, that's still a lot because that's here. Keep on talking. I'll get a number out
but
here.
yeah, you've got all of these books that they want you to read to keep up with the entire story, and and again, it's not just Marvel. DC does it too. It's ridiculous. It's too much.
That is
I don't know.
still you're closer to your guest estimate of issues though. That is closer to like 80 issues total though, which is insane.
Yeah.
So you're right. Yeah, well here's the thing though, is I feel like even when DC does their events, such as right now with KO, for example, I don't
Mhm.
feel like it's nearly obnoxious as how many tie-ins there is. Like DCK was such a much bigger event And what I'm buying for all the tie-ins, even for 1 month, it is not this worth of 1 month. I can tell you that right now. That's one of the reasons I am buying all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
um, but yes, it is quite literally insane how many, there is. And it is you're right, it is it is
But
a
then, I mean, don't get me wrong. This is not a bad story.
it is a good story. I did
it is
I did like it.
it's just there are bits and pieces of it that don't make sense, and then there are pieces that are, for lack of a better term, I'm just going to say forgettable. Uh, like for instance, I remember very little of issue number 3. I remember nothing about issue number 3.
Sure.
There are bits and pieces I remember about 1, 2, 4, and 5. I don't remember anything about issue number 3, other than that's when Miles Morales becomes a vampire.
I really like this cover, actually. I think this is
Good cover.
a really cool cover, actually. And I don't care for reading Miles. And that's the other thing too, is his main series, which I've never read any of, does tie into this. And I'm curious if that actually gets to him being a vampire a little bit more, which would be interesting. Because I thought that was an interesting. See, that was the other thing, is I thought it was an interesting point to see him be a vampire, and that only happened for a little bit before he became like a good vampire. And it was
Yeah.
like, okay, it would be cool to see more of that, like him actually being a vampire and then affecting him.
That one felt like it kind of jumped out of nowhere too. Like, oh, so he's a vampire, huh?
Well, there's a lot of implications of things that didn't mind. I didn't mind that because when you look at who he was with, it like, oh, the twist makes sense there. So it didn't bother me that much, but I get what you mean though. So, but yeah, there's a bunch of twisted things that happen. And the big twist with this that I want to know your opinion on, and the reason why I'm specifically showing this cover is because there's the big reveal at the end of the first issue that it's Blade behind all of this.
Well, it's
Kind
sort of.
Sort
it's
of
not really Blade.
It's more, but
it's somebody
still.
using Blade's body, which, okay, if I am a centuries-old vampire and I want to bring about a vampire kingdom on Earth, but I can't because I have to occupy a body, of course I'm going to use Blade. Blade's the Daywalker.
Okay.
He's
Yeah.
the Daywalker. Like, I'm going to have, like has been said in the movie, all of his strengths, none of their weaknesses.
Sure.
So, of course, I'm going to use Blade as my
Yeah.
vessel.
I just remember when I saw it, I was so curious of like, why is Blade evil? And I did think about like, oh, maybe he's possessed, and that's part of it too. Is the Blade we got in this did very much feel kind of like Blade as well. It's not one of those possessions that I felt like was 100% obvious either. Like a lot of those are, I think, are.
Sorry, I will say it was an interesting twist.
Sure, yeah.
At the very end, you're reading Blood Hunt number 1, you're like, oh crap, but why is Blade? And then when they reveal it, it's like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with that. Yeah, I would agree that it is a solid story. I think it could have been better. I did like I said, I will say this though. I liked it enough to make me want to go read a bunch of those tie-ins, and not just the tie-ins, but read more of the other in-universe stuff going on though. Yeah. I will say like with it having its connections to like the mainline Avengers that you said you were getting caught up with, or all the Moon Knight stuff before. Like it makes me want to read more of that stuff even more now, and more of what's going on with more of this modern era of Marvel though, because a lot of those stories that I've read, I don't think are necessarily bad. I enjoy a lot of what I read, and so it's making me want to read more though. And I think that is, even though yes, to our point earlier, it's a lot of homework that you shouldn't necessarily have to do. but it's good enough where it makes me want to read more of that stuff, though.
Right. So, like, I kind of want to read. I kind of want to read Blood Hunters,
Yeah.
and I kind of want to read. Um, the Amazing Spider-Man issues.
Yeah. I will
Um,
also say I've had an itch for a while to read some Moon Knight stuff. And with this being connected heavily to a bit of Moon Knight stuff, it's like, oh, it makes me want to go back and read this modern era because I hear really good things about Jed McKay's Moon Knight.
yeah, yeah,
So,
I do too. Um, I kind of want to read the Midnight Suns stuff.
right.
Um, so let's see, Midnight Suns, Spider-Man, Blood Hunters. I don't think I'm going to read any more of the one shot. Like, okay, so let's talk one shots. I read the Hulk one shot, the Jubilee one shot, the Magic one shot, and the Psylocke one shot.
So, without any spoilers, because I might check them out, I do want your general thoughts on those since you did get to check out a little bit of them. I think
Um,
obviously with us knowing the events of the book, they're obviously not essential. But did you enjoy these
right.
tie-ins of these are what those characters are up to?
Okay. Let me start off by saying the Magic one shot I have actually already read previously.
Okay.
I read it because it was Magic. Um, but I did reread it, and so of the ones that I read, I will say I don't think any of them are essential to the story.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Yeah.
That being said, I did. I will say the Jubilee and the Magic I enjoyed. Psylocke I didn't dislike. I just felt like, okay, so that happened. That has absolutely almost little to do with the whole thing.
Okay.
It was fine. Yeah, I don't know. I'd skip that one if you're asking me. Uh, Magic was cool because man, I go back and forth on which of those, like between Magic and Jubilee, which one was my favorite.
Mhm.
Uh, I think Jubilee because it's like I read that and I'm like, oh yeah, I completely forgot that happened to Jubilee. Like there's some stuff that happens to Jubilee previously, prior to this. Uh, I want to say I want to say it was during Decimation, but now I don't remember
Okay.
what event it was. Something happens to her. And reading this one shot of Blood Hunt, like, oh yeah, I forgot that happened. And okay, it makes sense that she is part of Blood Hunt. Completely makes sense that, like,
Mhm.
I would almost like it's not essential reading to
Yeah.
the story overall. Uh, but it is one that I would say, yeah, go pick that one up. That one's
Okay.
good. That was good.
Gotcha.
Magic is really good because it's magic. I mean, and it's written by Ashley Allen. You should know that name very well if you have been talking about if you may have spent an hour or so talking about a certain magic comic book series. So
Yeah.
Ashley Allen wrote this, and it was good. It takes place in Russia. Um, it's yeah, it's like this is kind of like yeah, cool. You're a vampire. You have all these powers. Here, let me show you magic and what she can do to you. Uh, so, and then the other one I read was the Hulk one shot. Uh, you can completely skip that one.
Funny as that is one of the ones I definitely want
It
to
did
read.
nothing for me. It did nothing to enhance the story. It did nothing to add to the story. It was like, okay, that was kind of pointless. But yeah, those are the one shots that I read. But yeah, I think, like I said, I want to read. And when am I going to read these? Because I've got so much else on my plate.
That's the problem. It's so overwhelming of all the stuff you could read in the
You
world
know,
of
what I
comics.
should do is I should just go ahead and do that this weekend so that I don't
Read
forget.
ahead for whatever we do.
So I don't forget. Yeah.
I was thinking I might try to break up reading some of these tie-ins and stuff into what I'm mainly reading as well, so we'll see.
Well, it's fresh on my mind, so might as well. I don't know.
Yeah, true as well. So, let's see here. Other points that we may or may not want to bring up. This, if it was obviously a set in the main universe, having a bunch of these, it's an event that all of Earth is affected, so that part of the reason why there's so many tie-ins is because it literally affects everybody.
Yeah.
We talked a bit about the writing was quick, but we liked it, but definitely could have been a bit more. The artwork, though, how do you feel about the artwork in this?
It was fine. Nothing like none of the panels really jump out at me. Like the artwork is solid. The line work, like if I just look at this page you're showing me, the line work looks kind of shaky.
See, that's the thing, is I actually liked it because I thought it fit the tone of the story really well.
And that could be it. He could have done that on purpose.
And I want to give credit to where credit's due to as well. We already talked about Jed McKay was the writer, but then also Pepe Larez is the artist on this. Marte Garcia. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. Marte. Marte. I don't know. I'm sorry for butchering your name, but he also helped with the coloring there, and so good stuff. And they work together on a lot of the covers as well. But like this though too, and this is something else I want to say too, is I liked how we had in this first issue, we got to see some of like the vampires spreading across the whole world. And I liked that. But that's the thing, is like I actually thought the artwork was like cool with it because it fit the vibe I felt like of it intentionally being a darker story where it's meant to be.
I see that. I see your point. Nothing about any of the panels that I can recall really jumped out at me and saying, "Oh, this was spectacular." It's just kind of.
I would say there was no, from what I remember, like those pages in particular stood out to me, which is why I was sharing those. But yes, I agree though. There is important. Actually, wait. There is a moment I really liked in one of these issues I'll share. There's not a lot of wowing like splash pages or big one pages.
Yeah, not a lot of standout panels.
I will say though, there are certain bits I thought were really cool. If I
the artwork fit the narrative, let's just put it that way.
See, like there were certain cool things that happened that was like, oh, this is cool. As far as like, this is really the only one pager that really stood out to me, because you're seeing a bunch of Moon Knights, and I don't know anything about what all this Moon Knight stuff completely means because I haven't been reading that Moon Knight. It's one of the things that makes me want to go back and read more of the Moon Knight. But seeing all this, I was like, oh, that's cool though. I really like this shot in particular though. Seeing Moon Knight come down and seeing all the other Moon Knights and the whole of his cape, if you will, coming down on the vampires and ready to beat vampire ass was really cool. So
it's all right. I just didn't. I don't know. I don't want to say anything bad about the artist because it's not bad art. It's just not.
Just something that
It
then
didn't. It did not blow me away.
right, just something that didn't really click for you, which I could get. Here's a question: we're introduced to all these bad people. I don't
Well,
remember what.
this is the Blood Coven, is it not? Isn't that who this is?
I don't remember what they're called, and that's what I was trying to say is I don't remember who. I don't know these characters.
Well, they're not.
The Blood Coven, yes, you're right.
I don't think they're like well-known characters. No, that's the Blood Coven.
Yes, it is the Blood Coven. Yeah,
yeah, because the guy in white is blood something one.
Bloodstorm 1. You have McGreamy, Cruel and Unusual, Damascene,
yeah,
and Smoke Eater.
Cruel and Unusual.
Yeah. So, but the point is, though, I'm not familiar with any of these characters, though.
They were kind of forgettable.
They were a lot just there, and they really weren't a challenge for the Avengers.
No.
Like, honestly, for as big of a threat this is, the Avengers did just kind of beat them easily. Not gonna lie. That it didn't really feel like, well, yeah, there's a big plot point where they took over their base. But then after that, they did everything with, like, it was easy, kind of easy for them, all things considered, for as big of a threat was.
Yeah, it's like, were they supposed to be a big threat? Because if they were, you failed on that mark.
Yeah. Yeah, like just the whole thing of it felt like it had high stakes, but then it also kind of didn't feel like it because they really weren't having that hard of a time. There was a point in the story where Doom was like, "You'll still need me at the very end, so you must make me." Well, you know what? Let's touch on that in a moment with Doctor Doom. But
see, now this is a group that I wonder if they had a bigger part to play in some of the tie-in stuff.
You see, I don't know. I'm just curious. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I will say though, one of the aspects I really liked about this story, though, is I like how I don't remember who said it. Maybe it was Strange. I think it was Doctor Strange mentioned this at the very end. He was like, maybe this was completely Doctor Doom's plan. Like, what if Doctor Doom was the one behind all of this? As an idea.
That was Doctor Strange.
And I really like this. I thought it was a really interesting idea, and this is ultimately goes into why I mainly want to read the event and why we're ultimately, I think, talking about it is because
you need to read One World Under Doom.
I really do need to read it. I want to. It's on my list, but
I'm going to leave it at that.
yeah, it's on my list of things I want to read. Don't you worry. But it's interesting though because it introduces this idea of like, oh, maybe it was Doctor Doom behind all of this, because and we get an early nugget of this too in the first. I think it was in the first issue. Actually, one of my favorite, I think, standout moments in this miniseries is that part in issue 1 where there's people trying to seek shelter in Latveria, and like they're running to the border when this vampire's chasing this like couple, and these couple people, and the people just die because Doom's like, we need to maintain our borders and make sure nobody gets in, and then the vampires die. But like, it just shows how ruthless Doom is, and and with it all leading to in issue 5 when he gets the when he becomes Sorcerer Supreme.
Mm-hmm.
And that was ultimately the big thing that I knew about that I was wanting to why I was wanting to read this.
Well,
And it
yeah,
really does directly set up
yeah. That's why I read it, because that's like One World Under Doom. He is Sorcerer Supreme, and they mentioned that this happened because of Blood Hunt. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to go back and read Blood Hunt.
He straight up tricked Doctor Strange because he was like, Doctor Strange, you have to
Okay.
Sorcerer Supreme.
I go back to a previous statement. There's a standout panel right there.
Yes.
Just the bottom.
Yes.
Just the bottom where it says Doom. And you've got all the Avengers looking and going, fuck.
I was about to say, if that doesn't get you excited for wanting to check out One World Under Doom, I don't know what would, because that's just such a cool panel right there. So,
dude,
yeah.
I cannot say enough good things about that.
I want to read it. I
really like that story.
I will get to it. I'll get to it. It's on my list. I think I definitely waited because I really want to read it. So, anyway, yeah. Let me see here. Anything else particular? I mean, there's obviously a rating we can give it, but other than a rating, is there any other sort of like points that you want to bring up about the story?
I mean, so you got we didn't talk hardly at all about the fact that although again it was rushed and they didn't really get into it enough, I don't think, is this whole emotional dynamic that you're gonna have to go kill your dad.
Oh yeah, that's true.
With Bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point they don't know he's possessed. They still don't know that he's possessed by Varney. Is that his name? Varney?
Yeah.
And so, they come to his daughter, Bloodline, and they're like, yeah, you're gonna have to kill your dad.
And it's interesting too that you bring that up too, because that reveal that when she finds that out isn't close to like the end of the story as well. Because it's important to note too, one of these miniseries focuses on Bloodline and Dracula together in that 3-issue series that we mentioned earlier. And so
you don't find out until issue 4 about him being possessed by the first vampire.
And she freaks out for a moment, and then like that's kind of it.
Yeah. But yeah, this whole thing with Bloodline, like, oh, you have to kill your dad. It's like, yeah, that seems like it should have been a lot more impactful than it was.
That I think is a very fair criticism. Over it, yeah.
Like at first she's like, "What?" No, and then she just goes off and she's like, "All right, I'm gonna find my dad." Wait, what?
Well, I guess I gotta do this. Dad, no, I stabbed you, Dad. Sorry.
Bloodline. What is her real name? I can't. What is her?
It's a great question.
Oh, good God! I know it. It's
Eric Blade Brooks. Eric.
Well, that's Blade. Brielle. Brielle or Bree, yeah.
Oh, daughter of Saffron Calder is her mother, which I don't know if that's a name I should know.
So, yeah, exactly, yeah. So, Blade's daughter, Brielle, I just feel like she should have been a much bigger player in this whole event.
I think that's really fair to say.
I mean, you essentially have Blade as for all intents and purposes, he is the big antagonist.
Yeah.
But then you've got Bloodline in there that you just throw in every once in a while. Why is she not a bigger player than she is?
That is very fair.
But
I agree.
So overall, if we're talking like final verdict, overall, it's like we said, it's a good story. I just think it was very rushed, and there's a lot of missing pieces that, again, maybe I have to read them. Maybe you have to find those missing pieces in the tie-in issues, which is kind of upsetting that I have to go back and read more stuff to get the story. But
see, that's the thing, is I think a really well crafted event, you should be able to read the core issues and completely understand what's going on.
Yeah. See, that's how I felt about One World Under Doom. There was a lot of tie-in stuff there, but I didn't need it.
Versus there was points in this that you read it, and while you can keep up with the story, it's like it felt like there should have been, you felt like maybe I'd understand this completely.
Yeah.
Like, I think a great example is, I mean, it's obviously the absolute just like godfather of, or not godfather, but the ultimate daddy, if you will, of events is Crisis on Infinite Earths. That has a billion freaking tie-ins. But you can just read those 12 issues and it's like you understand absolutely everything you need to.
Sure. But again, like the whole, like I just mentioned with the thing with Bloodline, you go away with the main event asking why was she not a bigger part of this, and then maybe she was, just not in the core issues.
Yeah, all it seemed like was like she just had a side adventure with Dracula, and I don't even remember what they went off to do. Like, I know they referenced it, and I already forgot what it was. So I really feel like that part
makes me wonder: do we need to go back and read the Dracula stuff?
Yeah, it's like how much of this stuff is kind of important? I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, that is really irritating. I have to go back and read all this other crap.
It's like, oh, it's better for this, so that could explain this, and then blah blah blah. Yeah, I get you. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have much else to say about this. I mean,
I just pulled up like if you want to call it a synopsis.
Yeah.
Of Dracula Blood Hunt. It does reference an alliance with Bloodline between Dracula and
right. They did reference that they went off on their own and did their own thing.
So that is so Dracula Blood Hunt. So that is a thing where it talks more about Bloodline. Apparently, there is also a part of the Dracula Blood Hunt storyline where Daredevil gets involved. Okay, well, see, now I've got to read that one.
Daredevil, say no more.
Yeah. Okay, so thank God for Marvel Unlimited.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of stuff there. I don't know. Anything about this main event though that anything else I could think of?
No, not really. I mean,
what about a grade or rating? What do you want to give it?
Or rating. Okay, so if we want to do like A through F, or you know what? Let's do a 1 through 5 rating.
That's what I was thinking.
A 1 through 5. I am gonna give it a, without reading any of the tie-in stuff. I'm gonna give it like a 3.25.
That is very close to what I was thinking. I was thinking a 3 myself. I thought it was good or enjoyable, but then as we said, there's a bunch of problems with just reading the event. But it was good enough that makes me want to read more of it, though. So overall, it wasn't bad. It was,
and that's it. So maybe mine should be a little bit higher because it's like,
yeah.
It was a good story. I just went away with questions.
Like, not the good kind.
Yeah.
Ultimately, yeah, that's the thing too. Is you can have good and bad questions, not the good kind. In this
So it's
case,
like, okay, I went away, I read this. Okay, now in order to answer these questions potentially, and those
potentially is
questions may not I got to go back and read more of the event with the
yeah,
tie-in. But are those going to answer the questions? That's why I say
yeah,
potentially.
right,
And I'm
exactly,
going to go with those questions. I'm like, well,
definitely.
all right.
I 100% agree with that, and I think that was a good way to wrap up this episode of
Yeah.
the return of the Comic Den.
The comic thing. So
Stay
next time,
tuned. Yeah, as I was gonna say, stay tuned for whatever we're gonna be covering next. And yeah, we'll get there. If you want to, but we'll talk about it. But yeah, yeah, make sure you hit that like and subscribe so you don't miss when we do another one of these. Which if we could get the timing right, very well may end up doing them live. I think is the kind of idea. So
possibly.
stay tuned for once we figure out what we're gonna do. I will let you all know. But until then, the comic din is going to be back some weeks, not every week. That's like I said, we're not gonna. This isn't going to be a weekly thing, again.
Right.
But we are going to be doing these.
We're going to make an effort to do more.
We're making an effort to do these. It's something that we
to talk
realize that
about
we both
comic books
missed,
and
and so
whatnot.
we're going to make it work with both of our insanely busy schedules. So,
Yeah.
so stay tuned for all that. But without further ado, I think that was a good way to wrap it up. Make sure you go check out Shenanigans Collective, Rebel Nerd Radio, all that stuff. Links down below for all that stuff. And without further ado, see you all next time here at the Dingus Den. Laters, everybody. Bye.
Say bye.